MrBeast has finally sat down for an interview after, 3 or 4 long months of silence and responded to most of the allegations against him and his company. So this interview was done by Oompaville, and while I do think that this is a, good interview, I definitely think it could have been better. It could have had some more hard-hitting questions, but regardless, today we're going to take a look at the interview and talk about some of MrBeast's responses and, all of that sort of stuff. And I'm not going to cover every single thing talked about because this conversation was like 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and they talked a lot about things like MrBeast using CGI and just some things that I don't necessarily think are that important to talk about. Boring. I want to focus more on, the more serious allegations, or the ones that, I think we all wanted to hear an official response about. Also, I'm going into this interview with an open mind, and I'm going to talk about it from an open perspective. So, of course, I'm not going to be bending to MrBeast or anything, but there are also going to be times where I may think that, his responses are good and fair. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I can already, hear some of you typing in the comments that,
oh, Jax is a MrBeast meat rider. Oh, he switched up real fast.
Like, I've never been a #1 MrBeast downfall prayer. I just talk about the allegations as they come and, give my personal thoughts. So just chill out, okay? Chill out.
Why were you so silent?
Yeah, that's a great question to kick it off on. You actually kind of laid out the timeline there. The Ava stuff came out, and I put out that tweet. We hired the investigators to go look into it, and part of that investigation is they recommended that I not talk about drama or really do anything online because it might influence witnesses or any people they might interview or ex-employees. So after that, yeah, like you said, a lot of stuff had come out between when the investigation started and when it ended, and I was just kind of like, whoa, I don't really know how to hit this stuff. And I made like a little response video, but that's just kind of not my style, where I just kind of put a lot of the information that I assume we're going to talk about here out, and it just felt weird. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I've never been in a situation where people have thrown this much stuff at me, and I definitely could have handled it better. Like, I probably should have, the second I could have talked, I don't remember the exact date, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we put that report out, probably should have done something like this right then. If I could go back in time, I would. And yeah, that's kind of like the brain dump, and then here I am.
So MrBeast says that, he couldn't really respond to anything while, the big 3-month investigation was going on, over at the Beast company, which I mean is fair. And he also says that if he, could go back, he would do an interview, a lot sooner, like either right after the investigation concluded or whatever, which, I think would have been really smart on Beast's part, because after the investigation and, the whole online joke of he investigated himself and, found himself guilty, type of deal was going on, he could have cleared up those comments or allegations a lot sooner, which in this interview, he talks about that comment, and he basically just says that, it was an external investigation done by a third party, and of course he has to pay for it, like the investigators don't work for free, like this isn't a charity or anything like that, and which again, I think is fair. And to MrBeast's defense, the big allegations literally came out right after the whole Ava situation, and that was right after the investigation started. So I could see why, he couldn't respond right away. I mean, kind of a shitty situation, because I think we would all have, loved to see responses in real time. And I think the responses, could have been more telling, to be honest, if that makes sense. Next, MrBeast is going to sort of talk about, the Delaware situation. And I wish he kind of would have, talked about it a bit more, but here it is.
Videos with tens of millions of views collectively, claiming I called a guy Delaware because he committed a crime in Delaware. That is not true. His name was just Delaware. I didn't, call him Delaware to make fun of him or anything. And, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna ask about it later, but there's literally, he was in a video before I hired him working at Best Buy wearing a name tag that said Delaware. And that was public information. And anyone could have saw that. Even during when that was getting shared a lot a couple months ago, I even sent that to a couple YouTubers. I was like, hey, just so you know, I didn't call him Delaware because of this messed up thing. That was just his name, and here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but one of them literally just said to me, well, it's not really cool to like you or defend you right now, so I don't really care whether or not it's true, or I don't want to take the video down because then people are gonna think I'm controlled opposition. I was like, whoa, yes, I did hire him, but for the context around it, I hired him when I was 19, so I was a teenager, and this is kind of leans a little bit into what we were talking before. This was back when it was just a couple of my friends from high school, my mom. My videos were getting bigger. I needed more help. And so I walked in because I'm dumb. Like, I probably should have gone on some site and hired people who had production experience, but instead I walked into my local Best Buy and I just hired multiple people. Obviously, when I was a teenager, I didn't know what a background check was. And I just hired a couple people there that wanted to help me make videos. One of them was the person named Delaware. And no, I did not know he was a registered sex offender. There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening.
It's at least good that he is, taking accountability for hiring a RSO. I still have, so many questions about, this Delaware fella. Like, why was he wearing a mask in that, video when literally nobody else was? Because that was one of the reasons why people were like, oh, Jimmy knew he was a RSO, because maybe like the mask was like trying to, hide his identity or something like that. And again, those are just the allegations, but I still think that it's kind of weird that, the fool was just masked up. And second off, why are the videos of Delaware still up on the Beast channel? Like I said that in my last video, but like you would think you would want to take down the videos with the RSO in them. But again, it's not my channel. That's just personally what I would do, especially with a kid's channel. But again, not my channel.
There's evidence that you put your previous employees, friends, whatever, controlled opposition
Yes.
In your challenge videos, such as the 100 boys versus 100 girls video.
Yes, Soggy's video, he, talked about this and uncovered it. I'm surprised more people didn't. Like, my girlfriend, after that video, literally went on a podcast and described this, so it's not even like this was hidden information. This has been out there. But, I mean, literally, like she said on the podcast, we had 100 boys, 100 girls. They're competing in a video. Leading up to the video, they're supposed to quarantine. This was years ago when, at the height of COVID. A lot of questions people have about my videos, like that in these recent things I've noticed, usually the answer is like COVID, like why things aren't as like we would normally do it. But in this instance, they quarantined. When they showed up to the studio, a couple people on both sides tested positive for COVID. We didn't have them all in a group. We, isolated and tested. And so now I'm stuck with a tough decision because we have all these people who just took off work for a week and took even more days off work to film this video. A couple people on each side of the 100 girls, 100 boys tested positive for COVID. I can't go grab random people off the street because they haven't quarantined, right? And back then, I think COVID tests are better now, but back then, it took like 2 days for the COVID test to be able to pick up whether or not you had COVID, something like that. Not a doctor. This isn't Joe Rogan. I obviously, no one knows that though, right? I could have just gone and grabbed random people off the street and it would have been fine. But I was trying to like be protective of the contestants. So my employees were routinely quarantining back then because, in the studio and things like that, we didn't want an outbreak. So I just went to the employees who weren't working on the 100 girls versus 100 boys video and was like, hey, I don't want to cancel this video. Who wants to be in it? And so a couple of them volunteered, filled in the empty gaps. My girlfriend quarantined with me, so I threw her in there. And then we got the numbers up. I was good. The video's on. Transparency. I'll look at the camera. No, they were not there to rig it. I did not tell them what to get out. I did not tell them what to do. They had their own free will.
So MrBeast is saying that the reason why some videos have employees or friends or, girlfriends or literally whoever in them is just largely because of COVID. And, if a contestant had COVID, they needed someone quick. So he would just, grab an employee or, his friend or whoever. Now, I mean, that is a good reason, but I also don't think it should be, allowed that employees or friends should be able to compete in the videos because MrBeast's big thing is like, oh, subscribe and you could be in a future video, type deal. And I understand that, yes, he needed people quickly for the video and, couldn't quarantine new contestants to make sure they didn't have COVID. Like, I get it, but also like, what would have happened if an employee, won the challenge or his girlfriend won the challenge in the one video or, his cousin won the challenge. Like, I think it would be like a huge conflict and make people think that his videos are rigged or whatever, which I'm not too sure if recently, any employees have been contestants or anything like that. But I think we can all see why, that is a conflict. And as far as rigging videos, I mean, MrBeast says that the challenges are not rigged. So I guess we would just have to take his word for it. Or not. Like, it's completely up to you to come to those conclusions. You see the evidence and the testimonies and you come up with your own conclusions.
Dawson claimed that you ran multiple illegal lotteries, and in Soggy's video, he sort of, I think, disproved 2.
Yes.
And then 1 he still believes was an illegal lottery.
Yes.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Did you believe at the time? What was your mindset? Did you check with the FCC? Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent this? What is your just perspective on that?
Yes. So I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and like trying to pull the footage and figure it out. You know, he disproved the two, which I mean, those were crazy. I don't want to just like speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason, like we did something wrong, like I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
But at the moment, that's all I really have to say. Maybe I could do a follow-up in the future. I'm trying to, you know, dig up all the footage from that live stream.
MrBeast doesn't think that he ran any illegal lotteries per se, and even Soggy Cereal showed in his video how technically they were not illegal lotteries because of the whole, you know, no purchase necessary deal. And while yes, illegal lotteries are not good, I wish he had talked a little bit more about the marketing side of the whole, you know, illegal lottery situation. Like I get that YouTubers do the whole, oh, you know, buy our merch in the next, you know, 5 days and you could win this, or, you know, in MrBeast's case, it was like, next person to order something gets whatever. You know, again, I know every YouTuber, you know, known to man has done this, but something about doing it when your audience is mainly children is just, you know, a little wrong to me, you know, a little morally meh. Again, I don't think this is like a huge deal, but I don't know, it just kind of feels weird. Also, like the whole thing of, you know, the random guy signing MrBeast's name on the shirts. Like, people spent extra money to get a MrBeast signature on their shirt, but, you know, some people received a MrBeast signature that wasn't signed by, you know, MrBeast. It was signed by just some random dude. And I know I keep calling this dude random. I don't really know who he is, so I don't mean any disrespect or anything like that. But yeah, I just wish Oompa would have asked more questions about this situation, or, you know, MrBeast talked, you know, more in depth about it rather than just talking about, you know, if it was legal or not. Because I think, like, yeah, that was a main thing. Like, were they legal lotteries? Were they illegal lotteries? But also kind of talk about like the shady marketing involved, but you know, whatever.
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
Well, you know, there's tons of examples of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true and posting it online. Tons and tons and tons of that. Soggy has basically an hour and 27-minute video, and an hour of it is just flat out proving manipulation and lies, and caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. Don't worry, I instantly was like, can you send that in writing? So, you know, if I win a case or anything, I can directly point damages. No reason why. And so, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to. I mean, it's just, I mean, what do you do if someone's just spreading misinformation about you and, you know, just causing harm to your business and like getting it to the point where you might have to potentially fire people because it's costing you so much revenue? It's like, it's not fair to the people in my companies, you know what I mean? It's just sad, you know? It's not a thing I take joy in, but
right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Dogpack got hit with a fat lawsuit. I will say though, and I'm, you know, not trying to defend Dogpack, because I think there is, you know, pretty good evidence that shows that Dogpack did lie and manipulate a lot of things to, you know, fit his whole anti-MrBeast agenda. But I do think that if it weren't for Dogpack, you know, none of the allegations would have come out. And low-key, again, not trying to defend Dogpack or anything, but if it weren't for Dogpack, you know, these changes that MrBeast is, you know, apparently making to his company to, you know, make it better, probably wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Dogpack. So again, yes, Dogpack did lie and manipulate things, and, you know, it would be just if he got sued. But, you know, things came to light about the MrBeast company, and I personally think that those things were for the good, because MrBeast can make changes to ensure that, you know, the bad things, you know, never happen again. And even if you absolutely hate MrBeast, I think we can all agree that, you know, changes in the right direction are a good thing, especially for a company that size. And, you know, I think it's good to see changes happening internally too, like, you know, with the whole HR department and stuff like that. But yeah, Dogpack is donezo, and I mean, it's fair, and I'll be very curious to see how Dogpack replies though. You know, I'm very, very curious to see if he even will respond, so that will be be interesting.
There was a comprehensive report published that painted a negative light on crypto dealings allegedly associated with you. To what extent were you involved in these crypto transactions, and how do you respond to CoffeeZilla's video on you detailing these allegations? I thought he gave you a benefit of the doubt in that video.
Yeah.
I think he's a very reasonable guy, to be honest. I think he's a very smart, reasonable guy who cares about like doing the right thing, which is pretty rare on YouTube. You know, how would you respond to Coffee's video?
Yeah, Coffee's video and the report. Well, so I'll start off with the report. I mean, most people probably haven't even read it, but that's what kind of spawned that whole thing was this. Did you see it? Like that? Yeah. So the gist of this crypto report that was Jimmy is too stupid to like make this kind of money, therefore it must be insider trading. This is his wallet. You know, clearly there was insider trading because he never would have been able to make this kind of money. When in reality, which is what I told Coffee in that statement we gave him, it was managed by a fund. So I wasn't the one managing the wallet. You know, I've never had access to that wallet. I've never done the buying and selling on that wallet. There's a actual professional who's written books on crypto and lived and breathes crypto every second of the day managing it. So most of the allegations there like are just answered by like, I am too stupid to do that. That's why a fund was managing it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, like Coffee said, like if he literally said this in a video. If you like Jimmy, then you're like, yeah, he has answers for everything, and this checks out. And if you don't like Jimmy, then you're gonna go, you know, there's obviously wrongdoing here.
Now, I'm not going to act like I know anything about crypto because I don't. So I don't think, you know, I have too much of an opinion in this matter. I think it all just comes down to if you can take MrBeast's word for it. You know, someone, and I actually think it was more Pegasus. I think he said that, you know, he didn't do anything wrong in crypto if you believe that MrBeast let someone handle millions of his dollars without his say in it.
Now, to the 1,000 video, 1,000 people with blindness video, there was a nonprofit that alleged it was.
Oh, that's a good segue.
Yeah, it was alleged that it was not paid.
Yeah.
And you eventually paid them 8 months later. What was the cause of the delay?
Yeah, 100%. And that you said alleged. I mean, we didn't. Well, so they weren't paid. Let me zoom out. Basically, we did a video where we helped 1,000 people see again. We, off camera, actually did 800 other surgeries. So we did 1,800 surgeries. I just only put 1,000 in the video. And for a lot of them, we worked through with the charity just to make sure things were, you know, because they had a lot of experience with this. And then that charity worked with a lot of doctors on the ground and other little charities. And one of the charities that they worked with did a couple dozen surgeries. I don't know the exact number. I'm gonna say around 30. And then the charity we were working with was supposed to release the funds to him afterwards to pay for it. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding. They didn't get it, so we ended up paying for like 970, and like I didn't know of this, but like that little misunderstanding never got taken care of. So then the charity that did the 30 surgeries made a video saying, hey, you know, we didn't get paid. Somehow that never ended up on my radar for 8 months, which is honestly crazy. I don't know how no one sent that to me. We obviously had no knowledge of it. And then I saw it a couple weeks ago and I was like, whoa, I instantly called the team we were working with and I was like, what's going on here? And then we looked through it all, blah, blah. And then I was just like, I just paid them. So I actually double paid for those surgeries and just paid them separately. Obviously just a little misunderstanding, 1,000 surgeries.
I actually talked about this situation in a few videos, and I think I was originally like the first person to make a video about him, you know, not paying the charity. And in that video, I said that, you know, if he intentionally didn't pay them, then that would be like really bad on his part. But then I made a follow-up video talking about how the whole situation was because of miscommunication. And I just want to quickly, you know, thank all of you for watching that video and spreading it around, because I think that our community played a big part in getting MrBeast's attention to the, you know, the subject so that the foundation could, you know, get their money that they were owed, which I just think is personally super awesome. Like, I love seeing that. And, you know, that was pretty much all you guys. So thank you guys so much for that. And it was, again, just really awesome to see that. And I'm just, you know, glad that even though it took 8 months, you know, I do believe that MrBeast just was never aware of it, because, you know, when I found that video from Mission Flight, I think it had less than 12,000 views. So I do believe Jimmy, and, you know, thankfully he quickly resolved that issue, I guess. And I mean quickly as in as soon as he knew. So yeah, again, that was all because of you guys. So thank you guys so much. Again, I'm gonna say it for the third time, it's really awesome to see.
Friend of the show, Rosanna Pansino, happened to get a Moldy Lunchly, and a couple other creators got Moldy Lunchlys.
Take a specific brand that comes into your mind when you think of something like Lunchly, something that's very similar, specific brand, I don't know, other brands, competitors, and Google their name and put the word mold behind it. You'll see thousands upon thousands of examples. And that, I think, is a key context a lot of people leave out in this, because they're acting like this is just a thing with us. Once it leaves your factory, a truck that's delivering it could technically take a sharp turn and a box fall and puncture the seal, or honestly, even something as dumb as like when it's put on the shelves at the store. Like, I can't stop someone from walking to Walmart and grabbing a Lunchly, going to the potato chip aisle, putting it there, and then like a day later, an employee going, that doesn't belong there, and put it back. And like, I mean, obviously they shouldn't do that. They should throw it away.
Of course.
But like, so there's no mold when it leaves their factories, because that's just stupid. Why would we ever let that happen? But after that point, there are variables that we just can't control. And that's why every single product in that section, Google their name, put mold behind it. It just occasionally happens. I mean, like Lunchly, like we're just getting started. We obviously saw the feedback and we're incorporating that into the next one. And I'm excited. I should have checked with the team beforehand if I could just say what it is, but I'll tell you off camera. But I think all the criticism and things we obviously are seeing it, and like, think everything can be improved. And I think people are gonna be very happy with
something health is gonna come out.
We're thinking, I don't think they would care if I said like maybe like grilled chicken nuggets with maybe it's like some barbecue sauce, like high quality meat, good source. And like trying to figure out what the side is, but like, like taking the criticism and applying it. It's like, and just, like something like that. I'm very excited about, because
that's huge.
Yeah, I get that things are like out of, MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI's control. And yeah, mold is going to happen. And I think a big reason why Lunchly just got so much hate for having, mold is just because it is marketed as a healthy alternative, or a, healthier than Lunchables option. And then, people are finding mold, and it's just kind of ironic. And again, that's why, people are mad about Lunchly, because I mean, they're telling people, and not even just people, but they're telling kids that it is healthy. So, if a kid finds mold, they might not know what mold is and just think it's healthy for them because their favorite influencers told them that it's healthy. So, I wish Oompa, would have pressed him a bit more on the whole healthy marketing strategy, that they use a lot, because Oompaville has his, candy company. And when he promotes it, he says, he uses cleaner ingredients or, whatnot, but he never claims that, the candy is healthy, because saying candy is healthy is just crazy. But that's what kind of like MrBeast does with Feastables and Lunchly. And again, I don't think there's a problem selling Lunchly and Feastables, but just it's the claim that it's healthy and telling kids that it is, infinitely healthier than, the other options, when especially like Feastables is still filled with sugar.
There was litigation found against you surrounding Beast Games, your show on Amazon, in regard to unsafe workplace conditions, and a bunch of talk of, files and videos and images and everything being sent to documentaries and all this shit coming out in regard to the Beast Games show on Amazon. What is the litigation that found against you?
You know how litigation is. Obviously, I'm not allowed to talk about it, which is a little. There's a lot of things I want to say here, so this is good. Trying to think specifically on the lawsuit that. So for context, so people have 5 anonymous Beast Game employees, or not employees, 5 anonymous Beast Game contestants submitted a lawsuit, and they sent it to the press, but conveniently all the actual claims are redacted, blacked out, so you can't actually see it. And I'm not allowed to disclose what's behind those black lines, but Beast Games, we had 1,000 people, we were doing big stuff, and just like with my normal videos, I'm not trying to say everything went great. One thing that happened when we were filming one part of Beast Games is, you remember CrowdStrike? That was pretty brutal. We had the most contestants of any game show in history together. That was weirdly, God hates me, during the CrowdStrike accident. And so as we're eliminating hundreds of people and trying to get them home, airports all across America are down, hotel room keys aren't working, and that created a lot of confusion, and that caused a lot of problems in our systems, and that was pretty brutal. And they're I'm not trying to just disavow everything, you know what I mean? There was one woman who we had, when we were filming, we had obviously tons of feminine care products and stuff like that, but there was one woman who was allergic to the feminine care products, and we didn't have allergen-free ones like tampons and pads. And she told someone, I don't know who she told, I haven't been able to find it, but I mean, I believe that she did, that she was allergic, and they didn't obviously do the logical thing, which is tell us, or just drive to the local Walmart and buy some and give it to her. And so she wasn't able to get, you know, feminine care products in a reasonable amount of time, which is unacceptable. And these, like, so I learned a lot of little things like that, but I think in general, a lot of it has just been blown out of proportion. Like, people have claimed like we didn't use unions because I didn't want to pay people fair money, when that was just a flat out lie. We did use unions, and like that there are dozens of broken bones, and which is like crazy to think that I'd be like, oh, 10 people broke their bones, let's keep filming, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't even make sense.
So MrBeast says that, you know, he can't really talk about things due to the lawsuit, but he does say that there's a lot of misinformation. And I think we were almost curious if it's true that, you know, like, staff was overwhelmed and, you know, there weren't enough staff, and if people were injured, if people weren't fed, and just like things like that. Like, there was also the, you know, allegation that someone like had a seizure and the crew just like left the person like lying on the floor. Like, there are still, you know, a lot of questions about Beast Games. And like I've said before, you know, from the allegations, and again, I'm not saying, you know, if they're true or not, but it just seems like, you know, there were too many people competing and not enough staff. And a big criticism MrBeast was getting was that, you know, he had to have the biggest and baddest and record-breaking game show. And, you know, from the allegations, it seems, you know, that didn't really work in his favor. And if these allegations are true, you know, it kind of just goes back to the whole like Jake Weddle thing, like safety needs to be a top priority over everything. Again, all allegations, nothing is confirmed to be true or not.
What do you think your biggest mistakes were over the last 4?
We've hit, you already know what I'm about to say. We've hit it a couple of times. I wish right after we dropped the results of that investigation, I could talk a couple weeks ago. Honestly, I wish I just instantly did this.
I 100% agree with MrBeast on this one, and I think him not responding right away just made him look super guilty. And I understand that, you know, he runs a massive company, but I think people just want transparency, and I'm actually a full believer in real always wins. You know, and even if people don't realize it, I think people gravitate towards real. So I think a lot of things, you know, could have been cleared up a lot sooner than they were. I mean, it's been like, what, 4 months, and we are just getting a response, you know, and a lot of things weren't even answered. But I mean, I guess better late than never. Now, Oompa realized he didn't ask a few important questions after the initial interview had concluded, so he speed dialed Jimmy and asked some more questions that he didn't ask in the initial interview. And I'm not going to like show a lot of the clips because they're just kind of long. They kind of just talk about a single thing and just kind of over-explain it a little bit. But first, Oompa asks Jimmy about like the Shadman poster, and Jimmy basically just said that, you know, he didn't think much of it and just thought it was like an anime poster because they had anime posters all over. Obviously, knowing now, Jimmy says that, you know, it was weird, and he doesn't know why Ava would buy a poster from such a weird guy like Shadman. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I didn't cover, you know, every single thing talked about, but I will leave the full interview in the description so that you guys can hear everything, or, you know, hear about the parts that I didn't necessarily cover. I just felt like the ones I covered were more serious, or, you know, they were ones that I have previously talked about. So yeah, overall, I think the interview was all right. Like, I don't think it was like great by any means, but I also don't think it was bad necessarily. Like, there are definitely a lot of things, you know, we would like to hear addressed, you know, like the Beast group chats, the healthy marketing strategy type deal, and even like some more talk on Beast games and like things like that. But it's nice to finally have a response from Jimmy. And I personally don't think that MrBeast is like some quote unquote like antichrist like people have called him. I just think he has messed up a lot and done some shady things, but it seems like he is trying to make sure things like this don't happen again. And like I said before, like, I think transparency is something that needs to, you know, come out of this situation from MrBeast, like, moving forward. Like, if something happens, you know, be the first person to respond to it, or if something happens, literally tell people and don't try to hide it and let people like Dogpack be the first to report it, you know, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think from now on, MrBeast videos on my channel are going to be rare. I mean, I have made so many videos on him, and I think this is kind of the end of the saga. Obviously, like, if bigger things come out, I will report on those things. But for now, we move on to the next chapter. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Make sure to subscribe if you guys are not already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.